Wait, what? You can't remove something unless you... Why are there so many Crash games? Generic Control into that goes. We're here back with another Caddicarus video, and today we're doing the stupid world of portable Crash Bandicoot games, which I did not know that they had portable Crash Bandicoot games, whatever that is. I'm playing through Crash Bandicoot right now. I actually just streamed it today with Crash Bandicoot 1, getting very close to the end. I should be finishing it this coming up Saturday. Hopefully we'll be finishing it this coming up Saturday. It's also posted on my gaming channel every single Tuesday if you want to check that out. But I think we're gonna, you know, do the final level where we're gonna fight Cortex, and then I think we're gonna do like the optional DLC missions and whatnot. And then the next stream after that will hopefully be me moving on to Crash Bandicoot 2. So it should be rather interesting. Last week's Caddicarus video was the world of Horrible Connect for the Xbox 360 games, which was certainly something. You can check out my reaction to that. Leave it right up there. Also, link down below in the description. Also, in a place on my channel, all my other Caddicarus reactions going in chronological order. If you want to binge watch all of those, and also shout out to the patrons, because I really could not do this if it was not for them. They get all the videos a day early for $3 a month. You don't see brand deals on the channel. There's no paywalls on the channel. I'm here to make you smile, not make you pay, and I could not do this if it was not for them. So shout out to them. I'm excited to watch this and learn about Crash Bandicoot games because I am suffering with Crash Bandicoot right now. But let's go ahead and jump on into it. All right. I'm playing through Crash Bandicoot right now. I should be finishing Crash Bandicoot 1 this coming up Saturday. It's on the gaming channel. There's actually a playlist for it. Okay. I didn't know they made portable Crash Bandicoot games.
Oh, messy. What's this?
Please open ASAP. That was actually sealed. I guess I only had one take at that.
Oh, dude! I've been invited to the creamery! I love cream! Oh boy, oh boy!
What is the creamery?
Who will I take with me? Oh, I can't wait to go! I'm so excited!
What is a creamery?
Oh, I read that wrong.
Yeah, you did.
Well, at least they let me take Dad home in my cream tasting pot. He died how he lived. Smelling of cream.
Oh. Well, how do you even come up with that?
Day. Nothing can make me feel any better.
What is a creamery?
Hang on, it's June! That's right, bitches! Bandicoot is back! Portable games. Games that are portable. It feels so good to play a game that you're able to take absolutely anywhere with you.
Is it Thomas the Tank Engine?
No, not the games themselves.
Me and my Game Boy Advance SP.
Stupid. I mean games that
fits
you're
in your pocket
able
because
to
it's goated.
play away from the house, and that's what we're talking about today. Even though it does feel good to carry your Glock 17 right next to a copy of the official
not a
UK
Glock.
PlayStation magazine demo disc issue 38. And it's especially fun
And
when
this
your
is
franchise
a Ruger 57.
I mean, don't get me wrong, I love PC and console gaming as much as that guy, but sometimes when you play a game, you don't want the commitment involved in sitting down, starting the game up, and staying in the living room. Sometimes you just want to sit down, start the game up, and stay in the living room. And Crash Bandicoot, the untouchable and almighty Cash Banuka, is no stranger to the portable console treatment. Dating all the way back to the classic Game Boy Advance, even until today, with the really damn good Nintendo Switch ports of the Insane Trilogy and Crash Team Racing Nitro Fueled.
Not sure if I'm gonna get to that one.
I
the loading takes
remember
forever.
playing Crash Bandicoot XS and N-Tranced for the GBA for dozens of hours when I was a kid during long car trips. Only during the daytime though, because, you know, you couldn't see it. And after recently giving the new Crash Bandicoot 4 Switch port a try and being surprised
Crash
with how
Bandicoot
good
4?
it was,
Oh,
it
pain.
made me want to take a look back through the entirety of Crash's handheld catalogue to see if any of it was worth going back to.
It's not going to be worth going back to.
Did I just say that Crash has had the portable treatment dating all the way back to the Game Boy Advance? Silly me. Smack in the head, poke in the eye.
When did the Game Boy Advance come out? Oh, don't do that.
The Game Boy Advance Crash games are where you would assume he got his handheld debut, and I wouldn't blame you for that.
No.
But that's not true.
What was before that? Game Boy Color?
Crash didn't start off on handhelds in 2002.
Game Boy Advance came out in 2002?
In 1998.
When he... Wait, that was when the game came out.
Boy. Not with the Game Gear. Not with the Atari Lynx.
But...
The first handheld Crash game ever made was from Tiger Electronics.
Crash the Tiger website for expanded gameplay.
Nice hair.
What words immediately come to mind when you hear the word tiger? Pride, strength,
Frosted
speed,
Flakes.
power, grace. Well, take all of those words away, and you're left with Tiger Electronics, a company that should be known for creating the Furby and lots
They made
of
the
other
Furby.
toys, but instead is now infamous for their hundreds of trash portable gaming
Oh,
systems
it's
from the
those.
90s.
Okay.
Where every single gaming franchise you can imagine was stripped of all dignity, shat on top of a cheap
And they have a
piece
Crash
of plastic,
Bandicoot one of these?
and then sold at low prices as single individual games that were perfect for little Timmy's birthday. Sonic the Hedgehog, Battletoads, Castlevania,
All games I've
the
never
Addams
played.
Family. Every game you can think of from the 90s ended up on these things like a fungus.
I was born in the
and
90s.
was unfortunately no exception. Do you remember my Pixar games video
Yes,
from
I
last
do.
year when we took a look at
Yes. The Zizzle.
Zizzle. Well, that is
Same
basically
thing.
exactly what Tiger games were. LCD screens with a handful of printed images on them that light up at different
Woody.
times to simulate movement when you press a button.
6400 die high-res screen and digitized.
High-res
Oh my
screen?
God. Well, if it has
calculator.
digitized sounds, then I'd better purchase one on my credit card from my bank account.
You kids think that the original Super Mario Brothers looks primitive? Bitch, these kinds of things were coming out 10 years after that game.
Really?
I can tell you,
But they weren't
can't look
handheld, were they?
nowadays with your Switches and your iPhones and your
Guns.
VTech.
Now, there are actually
What
a
is a
few
VTech?
Crash Bandicoot LCD games floating around out there, including 2 mini arcade cabinet style
How do you
ones made
play a
by
mini? Do you just like?
Manly Toy Quest. What manly toys are you questing for, Crash? And there's even this one from
You don't
Tiger
wanna know.
Electronics themselves, where you need to do what Crash does
Jump,
best.
spin, it's labeled.
Locate the treasure of the mysterious Mr. Cruel.
Huh?
Favorite Crash character next to Dr. Naughty. However, for love nor money, I couldn't find any of these online.
Except one.
Wait, what?
The first Crash one that
And how-
Tiger made. The first Crash Bandicoot handheld
And
game
how much was that?
ever, in fact. And here it is.
What? Looks like a taser.
Digitized sounds.
Now, I know what you're thinking.
Huh?
Daddy Caddy, that's not a game.
That's a flip phone.
That's a clam. But you're wrong. Look, just open it up like a walkie-talkie and you have a video game.
It's magic.
We turn it on, the game boots up, and...
It doesn't have any special like art style or anything. I guess since Crash Bandicoot was so new, he didn't need it. Like there was no like recognition. Yeah, that would have got muted so fast.
Okay,
I
so
always
right
played
off the bat,
with my
I'm
DS
confused.
muted.
How is an LCD screen Tiger Electronics game giving me the choice to start a new game and load a saved game? Surely that's too advanced. And what about the game itself? It's actually, miraculously enough, a 3D platformer that you
Oh.
can freely control. What wet and soggy dimension did I slip into here?
Okay, so
Is it
believe it or
actually
not, there's
playable and
actually a
good?
reason for this. This here is not your standard Tiger Electronics game. It's actually a special edition version of a Tiger handheld known as a 99X. Hence, this game is commonly referred to online as Crash Bandicoot 99X.
Simply put,
Oh,
they were more
Resident Evil
advanced
2.
than their
Oh,
cheap
my first
pound
Resident
shop
Evil game.
counterparts. But not by much. I mean, the
That's-
graphics
I
actually
think that's on
move,
this channel.
so that's a start. And they do have all of those digitized sounds that they promised me.
Absolutely not.
But
Absolutely
just look
not.
at it. You're still playing with a pager that moves at like 3 pictures per second. And
never had a
instead of a
pager.
phone call waiting for you at the end of it, you have a star-shaped cookie cutter with trousers that runs as smoothly as a lampshade made from human skin. I also don't know if you happen to notice that the only one
used
I
to
managed to find
see a girl
online
that had one of
doesn't
those.
even work properly, and most of the graphics just aren't there.
I'm not
Have
joking,
you
it
ever seen a
had
system where
faces
the
on it.
older it gets, the more lines of graphics go missing? Oh, that's nice. The spiders scream like you set fire
That's
to
a
puppet.
spider?
I don't know, guys, this is completely unplayable.
That
You're better
screen
off
is so
playing
tiny.
with a meringue. This is just my opinion, though. What does the advert for this thing say?
Into a Crash Bandicoot game you've never played.
Hey, you're right. Oh my god,
Oh.
you can get 2 of them together
You
and
can connect
mount
them?
for multiplayer. I've always
That's
wondered
kinda cool.
how oysters mate. And you know what? I'm glad I couldn't find the rest of these things online, because do you know how
What?
much this single one
Oh, it's
costed
probably
me?
so much.
Yes,
Oh!
this broken snot green calculator
Yikes.
set me back £184 and 36p. That's $250. This is a rare
That's
collector's
not worth it.
item.
And gee, was it worth it?
No.
Now I know we've
Chibi
only
rubber
just
ziplash.
started, but it's already clear to me that I'm going to need some financial backing to help fund my addiction to LCD screen computer games, but how will I ever afford to keep buying this
With a
rubbish?
sponsor.
Hello,
Spons.
I'm Spons.
Hey, Spons.
And I'm here to tell you all about the amazing company
Ome.
Omaze, who I've been working with very closely recently to give you all at home the chance to win $20,000 in cash to build
Is
your
Omaze
very
still a
own
thing?
dream PC.
Or
Are
you
they
can
one
buy,
that got
like,
in trouble? I don't know if they did or not.
80 Tiger Electronic Crash Bandicoot games.
They're-
Imagine the
yes.
multiplayer! All you need to do is go to
A LAN party with
omaze.com/Caddicarus
Tiger
and enter for your
Crash
chance to
Bandicoot?
win. You can also donate $10 along with your entry, which will all go towards supporting the charity School on Wheels.
School shouldn't be on wheels.
Charity.
Spawns isn't about
Suddenly
that.
this all feels very inappropriate. Yes, it is, because School on Wheels is a genuinely brilliant charity that provides education and support to parents and children experiencing homelessness all across Southern California. And telling you all of that dressed up as a kite didn't feel right. As a step-parent
Valid.
of 3 kids, this is a charity that I am 200%
You say he's a step-parent of
behind.
3 kids?
And as soon as Omaze reached out to
Really?
me with this opportunity
I did not
to
know
support
that.
them, I literally couldn't say no. I mean, I am lucky enough to have never been in this kind of situation, but there are thousands out there every day that are struggling. And so
hey.
far, School on Wheels has helped out over 50,000 people to this day. And
Southern
do I need to
California
remind
was
you
kind of
that
on
your
fire
$10
not that long
donation
ago.
enters you into this sweepstakes for
So
a chance
that
to
number's
win
probably worse.
$20,000 for the PC build of your dreams.
They're not sponsoring
Gaming,
my video, but they're
editing,
sponsoring
3D
his.
modeling,
Get that
even
bag.
chairs and headsets. It
'Cause-
doesn't matter.
Oh, it
Go
is rough.
nuts, and don't
Oh,
worry,
it is rough
nothing
out
will
here.
go wrong. That only seems to happen to me. Plus, you can also grab yourself an extra
That video actually
150
had
entries
copyright
by using
issues.
the code RADNIS150 when you enter. Radness. So again, that's omaze.com/Caddicarus. The code is Radness150.
I don't know if all the videos are gonna have
Donate to support a
copyright
great
issues,
cause,
because if
and
so,
good luck with your chance
gonna
of
have
winning
problems.
$20,000
Not sure if you'll see this
worth of
video.
really good PC goodies. So anyway, what's next? What? There's more LCD screen Crash games?
Yeah.
That were free toys from McDonald's?
Back when toys were good. Remember when Zero used to have toys in them?
Goodbye. Nope, these numbered spines don't belong to a collection of Cash Banuka
Where's
encyclopedias.
the
They actually
even
belong
numbers?
to a series of even more LCD screen Crash games. This
They're
time,
gonna be
though,
so
they were
rough.
released in 2005 for free from McDonald's Happy Meals. Except I had to buy them on eBay.
For a
So
lot.
they weren't free. And I'm not happy about that. They are exactly what you'd expect for
Oh.
a free toy that came with a cardboard box with 4 chicken nuggets in it. They mostly
Yeah,
only
weren't those
require
like
2 buttons
$5 or
to
$6 or
work.
something?
Nothing moves.
Maybe?
They all take place on a single printed picture, and the noise. Oh man, the noise.
To be fair, for free?
Yes, essentially, I spent money on a load of free toys that most kids threw in the bin, and all I have to show for it is a herd of geese.
The strings.
Nails on a chalkboard is a compliment to these things.
Can
They
you
don't
meet
make
them?
sounds, they honk. The visuals suck, the gameplay sucks, and the cover art.
I honk at
mean,
geese when I see them.
I mean,
Stay in line.
Bandicoot,
Oh.
Bandicoot. And I know, I'm missing quite a lot of the numbers from this collection.
Or maybe that's because
But
they
there
didn't
is
do
a
even
reason for
numbers.
that. It's because all of the other even numbers belong to Spyro LCD games that released at exactly the same time.
I've never
But
played
let's
Spyro.
not get ahead of ourselves. We're not touching him for a while. Even though he'd be all nice and leathery. There were also some other
Stop.
Crash Bandicoot McDonald's toys exclusive to other regions, so I couldn't get my hands on them.
What?
I found
What?
Osama! Okay, so now the stupid stuff is out of the way,
God.
let's dig into all the
Cortex.
portable Crash games that
Oh my
most of you
God.
are probably familiar with. The Game Boy Advance games. And to say that I'm
I
familiar
did not
with
know.
these is a huge understatement. As a
I'm
kid,
not.
I adored the
I didn't know
first
they
2
existed.
games, and even though I only recently tried out Crash Nitro Kart on the GBA, I can confidently say I would have loved that as a kid too. I mean, think about it. These were the first proper Crash games that were actually portable and made it to portable systems.
How are you
So
supposed
can
to know
imagine
when
how
to jump
exciting
over
that
this
was for a
Nitro?
7-year-old Crash fan. Yes, kids, you can now play your favorite game series anywhere. In the car, in the park, in the bath, and on the toilet.
Yes.
I'm sorry, I got confused. This isn't a toilet, that's a toilet.
And it's going in the toilet. GB rub a ziplash? No? Oh.
Oops. The first one came out in 2002 and was called Crash Bandicoot: The Huge
I was
Adventure,
5.
also known as Crash Bandicoot XS in Europe. Crash
Why?
Bandicoot Xylophone Saxophone. And it accomplished everything it needed to do at the time by keeping things simple and by making sure to include
Sharks.
It took the 2D sections from the PS1 classics, crushed them down to fit into 16-bit style graphics, and just made a whole game out of it.
Whoa, nice graphic.
But maybe they
Yeah.
made things a little too simple.
Dude,
because
I
the
remember
story
playing Call of
here-
Duty, like, oh my God, the
Not only does it
graphics
just
look
take
so
still
real.
images from Crash 3's
was like,
cutscenes and not even
Call of
make the
Duty 3?
dialogue entertaining, so you can hear Cortex go and see him blame everything on the Bandit. But somehow he even manages to shrink the entire planet down to the size of a beef tomato and does nothing but hold it there until Crash can
That'd
stop
be
him at the
a
very
big
end
deal.
of the game. Cortex, Mate. Squish.
That was not supposed to happen.
Crash Bandicoot's out of date.
And that's not all. The
Oh.
controls for basic running, jumping, and spinning may be great and feel really tight, but as soon as sliding and slide jumping gets
dude, I
involved,
haven't gotten the
all
sliding
of a sudden
yet.
the jumps become
I'm
extremely
scared.
unresponsive, and you will slip, slide, and slop off the end of most platforms when trying to use it. Then there's the occasional
gonna be
leaps
pain.
of faith, the dreadful Tiny Tiger boss fight, the terrible final Cortex boss, and the level that's called Snow Job, so the game ain't perfect. But damn
I
it,
don't
for a
know
2002 GBA
which
game and
play
a
on
Crash
words that's
game in
supposed to be.
general, it's a really good time, especially
it
when
talking
it comes
about
to the impressive
snow,
chase
or
sequences and the flying
what it
stages,
rhymes
which
with?
I will say right now are some of the best in any Crash game. It even manages to bring back the unlockable boss power-ups from Crash 3 and forces you to use them far more than Crash 3 ever did. There's the box gems to collect, the time trial relics, the belly
more
flapping,
relics.
and even a secret unlockable final boss. My nan.
Basically, it's everything you'd want from a portable Crash game. Not like this $250 2-in-1 hairbrush and mirror set. But was
Lord, I
one good
remember
Crash
those.
game enough for Vicarious Visions? Oh
No.
because they made a sequel. And it had that
We
guy
had
in
3
it.
of them.
Here comes my son, do-do-do-do. Here comes my son, and I say he's an egg.
Crash Bandicoot 2 N-Tranced,
Huh?
the sequel nobody asked for, but by God they were getting it anyway. And if there were ever a
What
perfect
did I
living,
just
breathing
see?
example of the adage, if it ain't broke, don't fix it, this game is that.
What?
What?
I didn't say living and breathing. What are you talking about?
The story here is that Entropy is very cross with Crash Bandicoot, and he's so cross that he lays an egg. And the game itself is more or less exactly the
EWGS
same as
eggs.
Xylophone Saxophone, except with new locations that are much brighter and prettier than the first game, and feature new themes and colors for copied environments. There's new one-off level gimmicks that work really well,
Okay.
like the surprisingly tense shark wakeboard chases, and the surprisingly good 3D ball rolling segments that control
What?
really well, despite being on a D-pad. And in general, the bosses are much better in
I
quality
mean, the
too,
D-pad
not to
helps a
mention they're
ton.
pretty unique, since instead of rehashing Crash villain boss fights, they're mostly possessed versions of your friends. And there's even a boss against fake Crash that's more of a puzzle as you trick
is-
him into oddly timed traps without you
Oh,
getting hit yourself.
that's
By the
genius.
way,
I
on
love
Crash's
that.
Fight, all you need to do is stay down and spam the fire button. You'll never get hit and never need to move. What a bread bin. But why
He
are
just
you
can't aim
fighting
down.
your friends and simpleton clones of yourself? Well, that's because of my aforementioned son, the brand new Crash
The egg.
villain N-Tranced, an angry egg that was created by Entropy and is a gifted hypnotist. I particularly remember being stuck
an egg.
for ages on his final boss fight when I was 8 years old when this game first came out. It's a
Oh, you
good
get hit
fight,
once?
and it's even 2 phases, jumping from a Donkey Kong Country-esque fight at the very start to a bullet hell pinball fight in Da Air. Going back though, it's not particularly
no.
hard or anything. It's just him.
Reminds me of
He
Sans.
upsets me. I think I was more intimidated by his design when I was a kid, and it caused me to make a ton of mistakes. I mean, look at his size here. Now, I love
He's
a
a
good
big
stomp,
egg.
but I don't want to be stomped on by that. And this face, this shitting face. Let's play
the
a game.
eyes.
What kind of eye infection does he have? Conjunctivitis?
I don't think so.
Cellulitis? Uveitis?
Seeing a
doctor?
I knew there was something wrong with my last checkup.
You know what? I also don't
Looks like a
half
Resident
the
Evil
power-ups
villain.
here either. The Crash Dash is back for all the relic time trials, and yes, Crash still looks like a mangled child having a fit whenever he uses it. And the Death Tornado Spin is back, plus you even have the double jump from the very start of the game. But
Oh.
the other 2 power-ups suck. First off is a Super Slide, which looks cool,
Oh,
but
no.
mostly just fires you right into your death like...
We're in
That
the
is
Nitro
rocket jump,
crates?
which looks cool, but mostly just fires you right into your death, like... What I'm getting at is that they are entirely situational and are only useful whenever the game requires you to
Yes,
use them.
no
As
other
extra utilities
reason
to
for
Crash's
them.
movement, they're terrible. And since they all involve you holding the L button, which is the same button for the Crash Dash,
That's
balk
lava?
the time trials because you will accidentally activate them in the middle of using the Crash Dash all the time. Plus, whenever you use the rocket jump, Crash's model looks like a weasel that just got run over.
Did he hit the ceiling?
And he was probably run over by himself when he was in a go-kart on Crash Nitro Kart for the Game Boy.
Now, don't get me wrong, I'm fully aware
Yes.
how ridiculous the very idea of a GBA port of a PS2 game is. I mean, how do you put this in this? Well,
Easily, apparently.
you put it in it. To be fair though, seeing as the most popular games in the GBA's library consisted of 16-bit styled games, it's really easy to forget that it could do 3D and do it relatively decently with
I don't
minimal
really
casualties.
understand the whole bit stuff. Like, I know, like, the art styles and stuff, but, like,
Crash Nitro
I don't
Kart,
understand
though?
the
Nah, mate,
intricacies
listen here,
of it.
sunshine, this one's one of the good ones, you get me? I mean, it's impressive from the outset with how detailed the character models are.
We love
Sure,
that
they're
different
bit
carts have
crushed
different
and
abilities.
pre-rendered from the PS2 models, but I'll be damned, they look pretty spot on. And even
You know
though
who
the
it
tracks
is.
suffer from the original Super Mario Kart problem of all of them feeling exactly the same because they're all flat, they still look great and run extremely smoothly. Except when there's more than 4 carts on the screen, and then it starts running like Grandfather Ploppy. But shit, man, aside from that, this is a great
Was that a
version
problem
of
the other
Nitro
games
Kart.
had?
In fact, for how quickly it loads, the fact it's portable, and the fact it feels faster than the original because it's on a tiny screen, I'd argue this is the
They
best
all
version
spun
of
out.
Nitro Kart. It's just as fun as a divorce from a wife that you hate. It's got the power-ups, the bosses, a more catchy and memorable soundtrack, and they managed to keep in the
It would be muted
risk-reward
anyway for
boost
me.
system that made Nitro Kart stand out to begin with.
Why are they
You jump
flat?
into a drift and then wait until the very last second of this gauge running out to activate the most powerful 3 combo boost you can. I also love the little things like how
yeah.
they tried simulating the wheels spinning around by having the top half of the wheel flash faster and faster. It's adorable. They even managed to include voice clips from the PS2 game.
I don't think it's what they said.
Despite all of these games not being perfect, though, Crash XS, Crash 2 N-Tranced, and Crash Nitro Kart are a
Were there only
fantastic
3 of them
little
for the Game Boy
trio
Advance?
For Crash's first proper dive into actual portable gaming. Now, what should I look at next? I don't really know.
Wii U?
Is there anybody I can ask?
DS? Probably DS.
Oh, I know! Scott.
Alright,
Hi,
Scott,
Scott
this
the
is
Was.
really important.
Whoa.
What portable Crash
I
game
react
should
to Scott
look
the
at
Was.
next?
I don't care.
Oh,
Oh.
I thought you would.
Why? Why are you asking me about Crash Bandicoot?
Well, I don't know, because...
I usually react to Scott
look like
on
him.
Tuesdays.
What?
Look, we both know that there is more to those blue outlines in all of your videos. Why don't you tell
Borderline
everybody at
Forever.
home where that blue outline comes from?
Borderline Forever.
Oh, yes, you
Good,
do.
such a
Shall
good
we zoom
video.
out and take a look?
You're bluffing.
Want to screw around and find out?
Okay, fine. I'll give you the next game.
Too late!
No, don't do it. Oh God!
Oh.
Now everybody knows.
You make your videos on Crash's pants, don't you?
Yes.
On his junk.
Yes, fine. Now just take this and leave me alone.
Thanks, Scott. And it's
Another Game Boy
Crash
Advance.
Purple on the Game Boy Advance.
Crash Purple.
They could have had a perfect little Game Boy Advance trilogy.
There was no
of
Scott the
Crash
Was
games,
video
but
this week just because
no,
Death Battle
they
with
had
Kirby.
to make another one and name it after the color of a boil.
Usually it's
Let me
like
take you back
every
to
week,
mid-2004 for a second, and a horde of screaming kids are storming the gates of Congress, pleading, nay,
Well, that aged
demanding a
something.
Crash Bandicoot and Spyro the Dragon crossover game. Ever since the late 90s, the 2 PlayStation mascots were very aware of each other and had been dropping hints and Easter eggs
wasn't
in
aware
their
of them.
games cross-promoting each other, whether it be through secret demos on menu screens or even secret unlockable characters like in Nitro Kart
Well, that's
GBA.
obvious.
So it only made sense that at some point they should both get an official adventure together. So with that, Congress stepped up to the podium
Congress.
and said, "Fine!
Crash
Here's
Purple.
Crash Purple and Spyro Orange."
Wow. That's actually kind of a genius naming scheme. I like
And
it.
the disappointment
It's like
felt
Pokemon.
so monumental that when the
wasn't
children
good?
all grew up 16 years later, they came back
Oh!
with a vengeance.
Oh!
This-
Oh, okay, that's what
This
happened.
was Crash Purple's fault. But you know what? I can't even pretend for a single second
That's what
that
he was
I didn't
referencing.
absolutely love this game when I was 10, because I totally did. But we don't talk about that, so shh. It's actually known as Crash Fusion in Europe, and I spent hours and hours on it. So long, in fact, that I ended up getting every single collectible card in the game, which is only possible from not only finishing the entire game 100%, but also spending thousands of Wumpa Fruit at crate shuffling, shop
And
stalls,
you had to get
and slot machines
lucky.
until you land on
Let's
random
go
cards that you may be
gambling.
missing, while also having a high chance of landing on cards that are duplicates.
Yeah.
And you also need to play a
Yeah,
shitload of
could see that
multiplayer with
happen.
another person with a Game Boy Advance and a copy of Spyro.
How did you do
But
that?
Hey, I got all the collectible cards in Crash
Why?
Purple, so I don't care. I'm better than you.
Wait, why is he forgetting
no.
one?
So yeah, the final GBA Crash game was part of a double pack that you also needed Spyro Orange for to complete. And I did a video on Spyro Orange itself a while ago. Long story
Couldn't
short,
tell you a
it's
single
a
thing
watered
about
down
Spyro.
cookie cutter minigame collection. It's one of the worst games I've ever played, and every time I see it in public, I try to avoid it. The story
When do you
here
see
is
it in
that
public?
Cortex is good friends with Ripto from Spyro, and they want to work together. That's it. And then Crash and Spyro meet each other face to face for the first time ever
It's
in
canon.
gaming history and decide to bomb each other with Molotov cocktails. The These cutscenes as well are absolutely
That's what friends
hideous.
do.
All they needed to do was get half-decent pictures to act as comic strip panels, like in all the other Crash GBA games, and instead they gave Aku Aku kidney failure. But what about the game itself? Well, I'm thrilled
Why
to
did the
say it's nowhere
rockets
near as
fall out?
terrible as Spyro Orange is, even though it's identical in structure. You have 2D overworlds where you do extremely basic platforming in order to find minigame levels hiding around behind the bike sheds, and then you beat all of them to open a boss and beat the boss to get to the next world. But unlike Spyro Orange, which relied on slow, boring, and piss-easy minigames that had nothing to do with
That's why, because it's not a
Spyro's gameplay
platformer,
and were repeated
right?
with different sprites over and over and over again, at the very least, Crash Purple makes more of an effort to feel like a Crash game, even though you can't slide or slide jump in the platforming bits.
You can't slide in the first one.
It was a good Crash Bandicoot game.
Most of the mini-games are Crash platforming related,
God.
whether it be side-scrolling auto riders on the polar bear, breaking all the boxes in a short stage as fast as possible, skimming across water on a motorized lemon, or
What?
falling down like Michael Douglas. And even when they
that
aren't
Mac
doing that,
10?
there is more variety to the minigames. There's methodical free-roaming tank stages. Wait, what is this? Crashly Bashly. There's sheep blasting with a bazooka before they reach the nitro crates behind you. Well done, Crash, you murdered all of the baby animals. Thank you! And there's even jetpack stages where you tap and hold the A button to control your height as you glide along. Take that, Flappy Bird. Don't misunderstand me, though. There isn't
Flappy
anything
Bird. I remember
that
those days.
imaginative going on, and these money bags tends to spend all the Wumpa fruit you collect are absolutely useless, since they're only good for collecting cards.
Oh, you
which
have to
do
follow the
absolutely
thing? Oh,
nothing.
can you
This
actually
means that
follow
just
it, or
playing
is
the
it
actual
impossible?
game here will only take you around an hour to 100% complete. I'm not kidding. So as a kid, my parents essentially spent £40 on half of a game, with my sister getting the other half for another £40 that's 10 times worse than the first half.
Thank you, Mummy. But now I'm about to throw a spanner in the
But
works.
at least
Did
you
you
can
guys know
unlock
that
everything.
These 4 Crash Bandicoot games are not the only ones on the Game Boy Advance.
Dude,
Yeah?
how long was the
Totally true.
Game Boy Advance
There's technically
popular?
another one that's hidden on the cartridges for Crash Purple and Crash Nitro Kart. And all you got to do to access them is put the games in like normal, start them up, but hold the left and right triggers while the game is loading up. It's a secret.
Why? How do you find
Just
that
like
out?
Billy Idol's real name.
What is it?
William Idealistic.
And after all of that fuss, you're rewarded with Crash Party. What the hell is
Is he
this game
dancing?
like?
Me. It's a rhythm game? You know, after last week and
It's horrible.
the Star Wars
With
Connect
that, we are now
dance
cleared
thing,
out with the Game Boy Advance.
I'm numb to
so
it.
I suppose it's time to move on to the PSP game. Ha! Got you! There's actually one more. We're not done yet, so shove that in your blowhole.
Oh.
Ah, yes, indeed.
Oh,
The rabbit hole keeps going deeper.
What?
And we are at the final
Blast?
Crash GBA game, known only as Crash Bandicoot Blast.
Crash
But
Blast.
as you can see, it's invisible! Because the only way you can play this one is by
GameCube.
owning a GameCube copy of The Wrath of Cortex. And amazingly enough, the copy I found on eBay even came with a note. Hey, Caddy, sorry to see you're having PC issues,
Oh,
mate.
yeah, I remember-
Hopefully
yeah.
our fave
That was a
game
couple
of
weeks
all
ago.
time will cheer
That was a
you
video
up.
that had
Thank
copyright
you, Sprite
issues.
X6 Vintage.
For some
Say
reason.
hello to Mr. and Mrs. Vintage for me and tell them that Sprite X6 is a shit name for their child. Once you get the game in your GameCube, you start it up like normal.
I don't even know where
and
my
then
GameCube is. I think it's at my
directly
brother's
plug in
house.
your Game
Well,
Boy
it's his
Advance
GameCube,
into
but-
the 4th controller port with a cable that looks like a funny hat. After clicking on the minigame in the main
Reminds you of
menu
the
and
old
following
Apple
instructions,
charging.
this downloads the game temporarily onto your Game Boy Advance, I guess? I'm not sure how this whole thing works. But more importantly, after going
What?
out of your way to own a Game Boy Advance, own a GameCube, own a
And-
copy of Wrath of Cortex, and own a connection cable,
You get this game.
what do you get?
Oh, it's just like an arcade game. Okay, that's it. I'm about to
You
say,
get
there was
game
no
where
way
you
they put a
control
lot
Crash
into
in a
this.
silent nightmare realm using bazookas to shoot down more innocents than George W. Hedge. You play for about 1
Hedge.
minute, and then you get an advert for Crash Bandicoot: The Huge Adventure, which was not called The Huge Adventure in this country, so sorry
What was
to
it
all the
called?
UK kids out there that were going mad looking for a game that didn't exist. Don't forget, this game was available in 2002, so let's tally up the price of
Really?
admission to have a go at the not very
Oh,
good
no.
shooty bang bang
Oh,
Crash
no.
game. You would have needed a new GameCube at $200, a new
But you
Game
got the
Boy
other
Advance at
games.
$100,
Was it really $100 for a
Wrath of
a Game Boy
Cortex
Advance?
for $50, and a link cable for what I would assume would be around $20 because I couldn't find an original price anywhere online. That means that this
Didn't know it
single
existed.
piece of Crash history technically would have costed you $370 just to find it. And after all of that,
be
the
able to,
secret
yes.
reward is a game that's the equivalent to a wet tissue. Sprites X6, you are not my mate. I mean, what can you say? You point, you shoot, you point, you shoot, you point, you shoot. But don't shoot your friends, though.
Why not?
What are they gaining crawling around the area where the bad guys are?
Yeah,
why? Are they
why?
popping their heads up when they know I'm shooting? Can't they hear me shooting?
They
It's
should
the only
get out of the
sound
way.
that exists in this world. Or maybe they just want to die for a quick and easy way out of this mess, because for all intents and purposes, this game is as much fun as Gangrene.
And to give Gangrene credit, at least it came out a long time ago and is still going strong today.
Is it actually? Yeah, I guess it is.
Same
Yeah.
can't be said for the PSP.
Woohoo!
Yeah.
We're back on the PSP.
What is the?
Cusp. This is the portable
Is it the
system I think I've
PlayStation
spent
Pro
the
or
most
whatever?
time on in my life.
PS5
Tekken
Pro or
5
whatever?
Dark Resurrection, me and my Katamari, Loco
Obviously, I've never
Roco,
had one.
Midnight Club 3,
Never had a
MGS
PlayStation.
Peace Walker, Test Drive Unlimited, Tony Hawk's Underground 2, Wipeout Pure,
Wipeout.
So many great games, and yes, I even did my fair share of.
Do what you want, cause a pirate.
Strangely enough,
Wait,
though,
did the
not a
PSP
single
screen
one of those
slide like
hours went
that? I
towards
thought that was
any
like
Crash
the.
Bandicoot game.
There was like a
Yeah, weird,
phone
right?
that
I
used
got the
like
PSP
the
for my
Sony
12th
Vista
birthday.
or
I was
something.
the biggest Crash fan child
Maybe
you
it
could
wasn't
ever
the
meet.
Vista.
Because you like meeting children, don't you? Yet I never bought or asked for any of the Crash games that came out on the PSP.
Oh no!
But
Wait,
that
is that
changes
that level?
today with Crash Tag Team Racing. Yep. We're not looking at the PS1 classics that you could have downloaded from the PS Store directly onto your PSP. Nah, we're talking about the ones that they actually sold on the shelves. And this is a direct port of the worst Crash Racing game.
Okay,
Well,
then, here we go. My name
The worst. Dude.
Doops. And when I say that this is a direct port of the PS2 game, I really mean it, because it is virtually identical. The same overworld, the same race courses, the same mechanics, even down to the same cutscenes featuring this mechanical talking
Yeah, we've seen
pear
that
with a
before.
German
I've never had a
accent.
pair.
Even my beloved black power gem is gone.
It's the major.
You'd better find it before I piss myself.
Obviously,
It's
this
the
is
major.
a portable system trying to run a pretty intensive PS2 game.
Some of
so
you
it
will know what
isn't
I'm referencing.
Absolutely perfect. Some corners had to be cut. Like in the races. And it's the most visible with the graphics. I mean, when you try clashing into another car, you often get stuck in the floor. The exhaust pipes look like bumholes. And if you look up to
Nah.
the sky, you'll notice it looks more like a giant blue wig. But everything else
Why
is here
does it
accounted
do
for.
that?
And just like Dover, it's a great port. In fact, dare I say, it's my preferred version of the game.
Well, aside from when you're running around the park.
Oh, is that like
It sucks
unlimited?
a bit how you have to stand still every time.
This
you
is
want
on
to
the,
move camera
what,
since
bad
there's only one
Crash
analog
games?
Stick, and
Well,
they
not
just
this
couldn't
port,
help
but-
themselves and had to bring back Willy Wumper cheeks.
Oh, I inked.
But when you remember this is a portable version of a PS2 game that's more or less exactly the same, it's a no-brainer for me.
There's just one problem. I don't like Tag Team Racing,
Oh.
which means I don't like this.
Yeah,
And to
well.
go into all of the reasons why would be redundant, because I already did
Yeah.
that in my previous video about bad Crash Bandicoot games.
From a couple weeks ago.
Wink.
Wink.
So even though this
It's
is
in a
my
playlist
preferred
on my
version,
channel.
despite the frame rate, it's still the same bad game. You can't polish a turd, you know? It's like being forced
Can you
to wear
not?
a dirty and smelly t-shirt that says, I use crowded trains to sniff women on it. Sure, you can wash the bad smell
He
away,
wore that in public.
but you're still being forced to wear it.
But you know what you can't wear? Video games. And Crash of the Titans on PSP is
Oh,
one of them.
Crash
oh god!
of
Oh
the-
god! Oh, help me! No, we're all gonna die! It's a swarm of angry reds! Now I don't remember any of this game at all from when I
Crash
first
of the
played it on
Titans.
the
Is that
Xbox
supposed to be like
360
Clash of the
not that long
Titans?
ago.
Which-
but I'm
was
pretty
that
sure
another
the
game?
story wasn't Cortex wants Crash to dig a hole, and Crash doesn't want to dig the hole, and then Cortex wants to kill him. My name is George. And much like Tag Team Racing, the PSP edition of Crash of the Titans is exactly the same game as the original.
I feel like
but
he's
now with even
underwater.
less sound effects.
Wait, why is there no sound
And
effects there?
confusingly enough, they made the brave decision to replace Crash Bandicoot with a melting chimp. Yeah, if you thought the original
Monkey.
character models were gross, the PSP makes them look even worse. Are they covered in Vaseline? Maybe these are the manly toys we were looking for earlier. And Aku
Oh,
Aku
huh?
may be captured, but he loves it. What more
he
can I
doesn't
say?
look
You
like
run
Aku
around
Aku.
through linear empty areas, beating
Which
up
he covered
monsters,
this game
and
as
then
well.
sometimes you can stun bigger monsters that you can possess and then use them to beat up more monsters. It really is the same exact damn game again, just with PSP graphics.
Sounds like
How
my
does anybody like
youngest
this
nephew.
Crash? It's not that this game isn't classic Crash why I don't like it. It's that it's boring. The combat is boring, the levels are boring, the jumps are boring, the mind
Dude,
jacking
that spin was
slows
so
you down.
slow.
But I go over all of this in my other video about bad Crash games. Wink,
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 wink.
wink.
Oh no! I'm a bad Crash game on PSP!
Just like Mind Over Mutant. Yep, if the PSP version of Titans is anything to go by,
I hate the
can
font
only
they
assume
use
that
on the
this
spine
one is the same
for the
story.
titles.
My name is Uncle D. Now, I may not have remembered that much about Titans, but when it comes to Mutant, I remember that game just as much as that classic line from Lord of the Rings.
You shall not touch the ring.
Wouldn't you know?
You
it
shall
may be
not
portable,
pass.
But this is the same thing as the 360 version, which is more or less already the same as Titans. You run around, beat
it
up
was it was a
monsters, mind
PlayStation
track
game,
them,
but it was on the
and then
360.
infidels. The platforming is a little bit better and such, but again, I've already talked about that, so I can't say much
Wink,
else. You still
wink.
have to run
Oh.
around and collect Coco's parts and keep them in your basement, and Crash still looks like a cosplaying malnourished old man.
Why is he built like that? Yeah, he's built like
Now
that actually.
That is just beautiful. Hang it up in my
That is a
conservatory.
spaghetti
In
noodle.
conclusion, Mind Over Mutant on PSP is just a better version of Titans on PSP, but now the cutscenes look absolutely disgusting, and that sound quality is something to behold.
Was he talking into a can?
Hi.
Oh my god.
Idris
you're
Elba?
the world famous Idris Elbow.
Surprised
Yeah,
I knew that,
that's
didn't
me.
you?
What
He has a
were
great
you
watch
doing
collection.
here?
That's why I know that.
Here's a game.
Well, how nice of you. Gee, I meet a celebrity,
Bye.
and he gives me
Bye.
a video game. Could things possibly get any better?
So Crash of the Titans on the Nintendo DS is a game that greets you with Crash looking at possibly the worst he's ever looked. Hey there, man. You look
You want to buy some Crash?
healthy. Well, I suppose I need to pick a save file, and whoever had this cartridge before me had a file on here called Badass.
I mean, go with it. Go with it.
I can't overwrite that.
Yeah.
It's too good. I need to start on a fresh file, and my name is Grimp.
I've got a question for you. Do you like Crash of the Titans on Xbox 360
No.
and PSP?
No.
Well then, have I got some great news for you?
It's on the
Guess
DS.
what you do in this game? You run around through linear empty areas beating up monsters, and then sometimes you can stun bigger monsters that you can possess and then use them to beat up more monsters. It really is the same exact damn game again, just with Nintendo DS graphics.
Oh.
Hey Coco.
Oh.
Coco.
Oh.
How you doing? You alright?
Just like a
A
Minecraft
little
painting.
bit sick. You're a bit under the weather. You want me to go get you? You wanna McDonald?
In all
No.
fairness, though, I think I actually prefer this one over all of the other ones. I
Why?
mean, the levels are still
He
long,
looks
the gameplay is
bad.
still repetitive, and it is still yet another version of Crash of the Titans, but at the very least, they do try to make the DS version its own thing instead of exactly the same thing but with worse graphics. The levels themselves, while still long, are a little bit shorter than the main game. The
Less
platforming
games
is a
better.
little bit more interesting, and check it out. They even added in classic Crash bonus platforms to take you to
Oh,
a
okay.
side-scrolling bounds round.
Bounce around. I was struggling to bounce rounds today.
Plus, I've got to say, this is the
I
best
think I
version
did a
of the
Brio
Crash dance
bounce
I think
round
I've
today.
ever seen. Look at the confidence in that hip thrust. It's a statement. Look at the certainty. Look at the conviction.
He doesn't even know Bunny's
He is
watching.
giving the air his seed. And then it goes and ruins everything by including pointless touchscreen mechanics. It's a Nintendo DS game, so I'm not surprised, but it's still very annoying. If you want to possess a stunned
Okay.
enemy, you need to swipe the screen towards the direction that the enemy is. And the same goes for
I mean,
firing
is that
projectiles.
necessarily
which
awful?
would be fine, except most of the time it barely registers or
Oh.
outright doesn't work.
Okay,
Oh,
then that's the
did you
problem.
think the PSP Mind Over Mutant
What happened to his
sounded
legs
bad?
there?
Then you, sir, have not heard Crash of the Titans on the DS.
Oh.
Oh yes, my favorite
the
enemy.
same sounds.
Old man breathing down phone.
Attack upgrade. Wow.
Yeah, I feel stronger already.
That pathetic hairball sleeps through anything.
Oh.
Did they
What?
add a laugh
Yeah,
track
is there
to
a
the
live
cutscenes?
studio audience here?
A laugh track in a Cash Banuka game?
For
Oh,
Cortex
great.
of all
Crash
people.
farts whenever he double jumps now. I'm happy they included
That
this.
explains
That's
his
just what
double
he
jump.
needed.
You know, because farts are just so funny. Right then, what's next? Mind Over Mutant on the DS.
Okay.
Yeah, because you know what's even better than 2 versions of Mind Over Mutant?
A third.
3 versions of Mind
Yeah.
Over Mutant. I
Does
just
it look
don't
worse in the
understand
art?
this. Did all of these multiple versions of Titans sell well
7
enough to justify
plus.
making this? Who was
There's
buying
only a
these?
7-year-old
Is it
can
you?
finish a
Well, then
Crash
screw you.
Bandicoot
Well,
game.
whatever the case, it doesn't matter. Here we are
They
with
haven't just used the one being
version of Mom.
brutal.
And what do you know? It's exactly the same thing as the Xbox 360 and PSP version. Wait, what? No, hang on. Is this a 2D crash platformer, like the GBA games? And we can bounce on crates, double jump, belly flop, slide, and slide jump, and even do the Death Tornado spin glide? My god, thank you. Thank you, Mind Over Mutant DS. I never thought I'd say this, but there's a version of Mind Over Mutant that I actually really like that doesn't rely on any kind of monster
It's gonna be better.
possession.
And there it is.
Well, that didn't last very long now,
Yeah.
did it? Don't let this game trick you like it did me. For a good 5 minutes, I thought we had something different here that I could happily recommend. But once you realize it is exactly the same
everything else is
mindless,
fine.
button-mashing, monster-stunning, tree-breaking gameplay you all know and... No, but now it's on a more restrictive 2D
Not hate,
plane,
not
giving
love,
you even
just
less
no.
chances for combat variety and chances to get away from enemies. You then sit back and realize, gosh, this really is the worst version of the Titans and Mutant formula that you can play. You can only move left and right, which is extremely limiting
I would
in a
appreciate
beat-em-up
that,
style game with
actually.
enemy groups and any monster that's taller than you. You just can't avoid most of the attacks thrown at you. Which is particularly irritating when the bigger enemies attack faster than your button.
Why do they
mashing
get to
can
attack
physically do.
faster?
Every encounter with
That's
a big
a
monster
little
will turn into
scummy.
a single button smashing game of whose health bar empties the fastest.
Yeah.
Oh, and you see him down there? Yeah, bloody him.
Aqua,
he never
Aqua.
shuts up.
Crack, 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 crack.
Why?
Crack, crack, crack,
Is he saying crash?
crack, crack, crack.
A retainer?
Oh dear.
The external layer of my bottom teeth fell out.
Also, what in the veiny flaps is this? They didn't
I
even
don't
bother
know.
voicing the cutscenes for this one, and it came out after Titans on the same bloody console.
Is it just laughing? Okay. At least it's not a picture. At least it's animated and moving. My expectations are low.
Ha ha ha. Oh. I've got leprosy.
Okay, I'm done. No more Titans, no more Mutants. I've talked about those series of games even more than the good Crash games he's actually best known for. So I think it's time to move on to something else. What's next?
Oh, another Game
Thank
Boy
you,
Advance
Charles,
game?
Sweatshop factory worker. Your check for 3 pennies will be on the floor next to my... I don't
Crash.
want to live anymore.
The story
Oh,
here
another
is that
Crash
Cortex
of
is a
Titans.
baddie, Crash is a goodie, and you need to stop Cortex before he slithers into your bottom. And as for the
Please
game,
don't.
take a wild guess what you do. Go on, take a guess. You run around living empty. Oh, and it's in 2D. So just like Mind Over Mutant DS, you can't really do much with enemies other than hit one button over and over
yeah.
and over again until one of you
Doesn't
die.
really
This
work
is
in this
downright embarrassing.
format.
I can't think of any other Crash game that has had as many official console ports as Crash of the Pissing Titans, and the original wasn't even that good to begin with. And now you get to
guess
play it again,
they
but with very
invest a
stiff
lot of money
controls
into it.
and cardboard cutouts. I would
And
say
they're just
more,
like,
but
let's
we
just
currently
port it
live
into
in a YouTube
everything.
climate where if I say anything out of order, there's a very high chance that I'll look here.
Yeah.
Even Aku Aku was fed up with this shit. Boogity boogada budum bomb. Why does he have the nose of Miss Piggy?
And with that,
Excellent question, actually.
we are finally done with all of the portable console Crash games.
No, you're not. There's like 30 minutes left of this video.
None. I'm all done.
No, you're not.
There isn't a single one left.
There's like 30 minutes left in this video.
All finished.
Oh yeah, you thought I forgot about this one, didn't you?
Boom,
Well, trust me,
bang.
I wish I had, but alas, I remember. Bugger me in Baghdad, I remember.
It's not
Or
Crash
maybe
Bandicoot,
the
it's
red
just
flag
Crash.
should be waving in your face for 2 reasons.
It doesn't say Bandicoot.
One, this is a party game that's a spiritual sequel to the already below mediocre Crash Bash. Please don't lose, just let
Yep.
one in. Come on, let one in for me.
What?
Where did that come from? What?
Wait, what?
Spat all over
What?
my chin. And 2, this title screen is completely blank, while a skinny hunchbacked goblin is lolloping away from a purple sock with legs.
What
Time
is
to pick
purple
on
guy
one
doing
character
here?
For this whale of a party game then, and now I regret not killing myself when I was 5. Can somebody
Oh.
out there please tell me what these things are?
I
and
have
why
no
they were
idea.
put into this game?
Who-
This is
these are
2006.
new characters?
How do fake Game Boy Advance 3D graphics from 2002 look better than this?
Yeah, how
Crash
do you
looks like
do-
if
what?
Jeff the Killer turned into a kite.
Who's
Coco
Jeff
has
the
trees
Killer?
for ears and her arms are the oars of a a rowing boat. And you know what I thought Purr the Tiger was missing since he first appeared in Crash 3? Human legs and short shorts. Coco's face too. My god, how much more of a minger could you look? Her face is so mangled it looks like a hedge maze.
I haven't been this disgusted since I last looked at my stepdaughters.
Hey honey,
Oh, wow.
have you seen my coat?
Don't worry, Caddy, I found it.
You know what? I'm gonna pick Pinstripe for now because
Why?
he's the least awful looking one, and I'm gonna call him Mumps. And if you chose
I mean-
the single player mode, you
Oh,
won't be
no.
happy with the story either. We've got this new character that has never.
And remember what I said about being
appeared in
animated?
Crash before
It's just
or
pictures
since
now.
This game, and he's called.
Is it voice acted at all?
You know what? He's never mentioned by name in this entire opening. A brand new character for Crash, a brand new game.
And you don't know his
and
name.
We don't even know who he is, aside from the fact he makes a face like. He has been trying to find a thing.
He looks like
for
he
a
should be on the
long time,
Titanic.
but can't find a thing. So he created a tournament full of battles in order to trick the participants into finding the thing he's looking for.
Okay.
What? Hey kids, I'm Aku Aku, and I'm gonna tie you in a sack and throw you in a river! In the most basic
Aku Aku
terms,
at least
Crash
looks
Boom Bang
normal.
Bing Bong Boo Bingly Bungly Boo is a Mario Party ripoff, but just worse. You roll a dice, move along a board, deal with whatever space you land on, fight in minigames, collect points from minigames, use them on the game board to help you
Okay.
win, pick up items to help you or disrupt other players. It ticks all the boxes, including that single one that you missed because you're a stupid twat. So off the bat, it does sound a bit more interesting than Crash 'em Bash 'em, but it's how the game decides to try being.
I'm not trying to
different from Mario
100%
Party when it all goes
Crash
arse
1.
over tea kettle. First of
I
all,
might
you all roll the
106%
dice and
Crash
move
4,
at
I
the
don't know.
same time, meaning you can never strategize what items to use now or save for later because you never know where characters are going to be or what space they're going to land on or what items they're going to use at the same time as you. And then
So it doesn't
secondly,
zoom out?
instead of keeping things streamlined and simple like every other Mario Party game, they decided to make the game work like this. At the start of your turn, you only have a few seconds to make and perform every decision. If you want to roll the dice,
What do you
you
mean
press
a
the
few
touchscreen and
seconds?
skip the countdown. But if you want to use an item, you have to open a separate menu in the touchscreen that obscures the map of the board, so you don't know if the item will be useful for you on the board because you can't see where anybody is. If you take too long deciding what item to use, your turn
they'll
goes
show you
ahead
the
without
map
you
at
having a
least.
say, and the game moves on like normal. But if you aren't paying attention to the top screen, you won't know where you are or the other players are because that's where the game's happening. Sometimes you'll come to a fork in the road where the game tells you to pick a direction to move, but in order to do that, you need to use the D-pad
Oh,
to
look at
choose
that
instead of
DS.
the touchscreen, which you've been using the whole time. And by the way, make sure you use the touchscreen to open the map up when you use the D-pad, otherwise you won't know where you're going, except in these parts where you can only pick one direction, so why are you giving me a choice? Oh, okay, what's going on?
The illusion
Pinstripe
of
is leaving.
choice.
See you later, buddy. Get out of the game while you still can. So yeah, more
Where
often
did
than not,
the
you'll land
fly-
on spaces that take you to some other random part of the world, but none of this is made clear to you, and you won't have any idea where you or the rest of the players are.
Yeah,
so
we
you
love
disappear
that.
From the
We
original
love
map when this happens, and
Zero.
it gets even more confusing when someone uses an item that randomly changes the position of every player on the board. You
Oh,
collect points from
make it more
minigames, but that's only if
confusing.
any minigames get triggered, and the game can even end before the end of the 10-turn limit, depending on how far ahead a player makes it across the board. But making it to the end is not the deciding factor on the winner, because ultimately it's who has the most points from the minigames, and they can be very difficult to win
Wait,
because the other players can distract you as many times as they want by spamming their own stickers on your screen, thus obscuring your view and causing you to lose. However, luckily you can combat this by using your own stickers and throwing them on the other players, but the game wants you to also customize the sticker with the touchpad in the
Why
middle
do
of
you
your
have-
round in a separate touchscreen
in the
menu
middle
next
of
to the
your
map in the
round?
item menu when you've only got a few seconds to decide what items to use and what direction you want to go on the
Oh,
board. So what ends up
God.
happening is that you're trying to
No
make your own
playtesting
sticker, but
was
then your
happening.
move happens automatically and you don't have a clue where you are or where anyone else is, and you think that making stickers is easy with the touchscreen, but it isn't, because in order to customize the default sticker, you can't just drag and drop whatever you want from any menu. You need to go to the correct sub-menu of the item of the sticker that you want to bin in order to
okay,
move that
yep,
individual
yep.
item to the bin. So you have to go through
Wait,
many different
what?
sub-menus to guess what the correct category is for each item.
You
on the
can't
canvas that you
remove
want to
something
replace,
unless
and
you-
then after all of that, you have to go back to the other sub-menu that you went to in order to pick the thing that you want to drag and drop into it. So by the end, this was all I was able to do because I couldn't figure out how to do anything better, and it perfectly sums up how I feel about this whole thing.
The face.
And
Dude,
you want to
that
talk
is
about the
crazy.
minigames? Are they fun? Do they control well? Are they better
No.
than the crap they had in
No.
Crashtony Bashtony? Sure, let's go over them. Why not? There's a game where you play Spot the Difference.
Okay.
There's a game where you guess what number a baseball will be thrown at. There's
Is
a
it just
game where you
random?
guess where a person will appear from the floor and hope you can
Okay.
slowly walk over to them before the computer players, which is never.
Because
There's
they
a
know
game
where they're
you
going to be.
blow. Just blow.
Okay.
And I got that one 3 times on the same match. Oh, and if you lose some of the mini games, you can get knocked out.
And what do you mean
Then
knocked
you
out?
have to sit there and watch everybody else finish it.
Nah,
without you.
nah, we're
No,
removing the
you
game at
can't
that point.
Skip it. I tried.
Oh, you mean like the game, like
This
the
is
minigame?
more exciting than the NBA. Oh, great. Well, now the game
Well,
won't pick up anything
yeah.
from my microphone.
I mean,
at
Luke
all
is
for
on the
no
Lakers
reason.
now,
Blow
so
the
it's kind of
balloon up,
interesting.
you blasted meat! And it's a shame that it isn't the 1920s, because Mumps isn't doing so well here. Want to know my favorite part of this game, though? There isn't even an option from the start to play any of the mini games separately from the rest of it.
Well, who's sorry?
Love, come and get your pooey ticket for pooey cricket.
Still
I can
don't. I know
confidently
nothing
say,
about
out
cricket.
of every Crash game
Wait.
I've ever played in my life,
The DS
this was the
cartridge
worst
holder
one.
is on the edge.
Easily. No contest.
It's not in the middle on the
This
new
one
DSs.
wins the Brown Trophy. Congratulations, Crash Boom Bang. That takes a lot of effort. Hey, you! Yes, you over
Yes,
there! Yes!
Banuka
Come
boy.
back here right now, young man! You can't keep getting away with this! I've played every single portable game you've ever made, and
What's
none
with
of
the
them seem very
Bioshock
good,
stuff?
So what are you playing at? Don't you run away from me! I'll get you in a second. Just you wait and see.
Is that a phone game? That's a
Crash
phone
on
game.
the run.
Is this Temple
On the
Run?
from who?
Cortex?
The IRS.
Well, would you look at that? Not only the latest portable Crash game, but the latest Crash
The
game,
latest?
period, released in 2021 for current-gen iPhone and Android devices, developed by the same people behind Candy Crush.
Never played it.
My favorite.
It doesn't
I
surprise
didn't see that
you.
one
You
coming
know.
Either. But in all fairness, the idea of a non-stop running Crash game where you swipe left, right, up and
Oh,
down
it's
to
like
avoid
Subway
obstacles
Surfers.
is one that does make perfect sense. When you consider all the boulder chasing levels from the past and the fact that
Ugh.
Crash is mostly a linear 3D corridor platformer to begin with, there's nothing wrong with the concept. I mean, even Sonic
Yeah.
Dash was a fun time a few years back. And
Still
it's
never
yet
played a
another
Sonic game.
Crash game you can play on the toilet. What's not to love? Adding to that, on my
not the
iPhone
toilet,
XS
that's
Max,
a bush.
the game looks really nice for an iPhone app and runs at a consistent 60 frames per second, even though I tend to get stuck in the floor quite a lot. People think I'm insane because I am browning all the time. Crash
You're
Bandicoot
literally
on
in the floor,
Run is
though.
a very
That's pretty
simple
insane.
game. In the single player, you pick one obstacle course level at a time within many different worlds, which always end with you defeating the henchman of the boss of the world that you're in. Beat all of the henchmen and you unlock the boss fight, which is
Yeah.
more of the same, except you need to tap the screen to fire projectile items at the correct moment while avoiding more obstacles. After that, you unlock more replayable aspects of the game, like gem challenges, where you have to collect all Wumpa Fruit in a stage or defeat all the enemies, and the time trial relics, where you need to break second stopping crate and get to the end of the stage with the fastest possible route. My god, there's even more platinum
Oh,
relics
no,
waiting.
no,
All
don't
of
do
this
it.
together unlocks more levels
Does
and
he
contributes
just
to
have every
completion.
platinum relic
It's the
ever?
basic shindig.
So it sounds like a done deal, right? A decent Crash game that plays well, controls well, and follows the formula well.
So what's the problem?
But there's
Microtransactions?
one massive thing I've neglected to mention.
Let's
In
see.
between every level you choose to do, you have to wait. And I don't mean that there are level cooldown
Yeah,
times
there's, like,
before you can
stamina.
attempt them again or anything like that. I mean you need special collectible tools to
Oh,
access every
really?
single level. And you get these tools by finding ingredients in the endless running collection levels and then putting the correct
So it's a game that
ingredients
wants
into a
your
machine.
time.
And then those tools sometimes need to be added back into the machine with other tools to get different tools, which then sometimes need to be done multiple times
It
over
should at least tell
in
you,
order to
though,
access
right?
a single level. To give you an idea how long this may take, well, there's only a certain limited amount of ingredients in every single collection run, and only a certain
Yeah.
type of ingredient that exists in all the levels that you have available. And after you do that collection run, there's a cooldown in order for you to do that collection run again. Then there's the
Ah,
cooldown of you adding the
and you can
ingredients
speed it
into
up
the
with those
machines
crystals.
to create a tool. And for each element version of each tool, you only have 3 slots to create those after upgrading them. So even if you have the right amount of ingredients, you're
almost
most
reminds
likely
me
gonna
of,
be stuck waiting for one lot of tools to be made before making
It's
one.
not,
You can also do special
Clash of
challenge runs for
Clans.
each
It was
level
the
of
one
each
that was the
world where you
island
need to
one
hit every crate in order to
that they
get
made
more
afterwards.
ingredients. But not only does that mean you having to play the challenge perfectly in one go on every attempt, but also means that you have to wait 24 hours in order to do the challenge again.
Ah,
once you beat it. And
that's
only
not
for one
good.
kind of ingredient. Add this on top of all the other tools you need to create with other lesser
Typical
tools that
phone
also
games.
need creating, and this makes the whole game move along slower than old porridge. You have to repeat so many runs of exactly the same stages over and over again just to farm
That
the
way
items
they
you
don't
need
have
to
to worry
unlock
about making
one
mini levels.
single-player level on top of the wait time. And I have no idea if this was included only recently, but I did notice that the collection runs were made literally 3 times faster than they ever were when I originally started playing. So they clearly knew this was a
Oh.
drag. But that doesn't fix the issue with repetition, and you will very quickly notice the lack of power-ups, enemy types, and obstacles throughout the entire game. Oh, gee,
What did he
thanks,
just get
game.
hit by?
Serves me right for walking on the normal,
Yeah,
regular
exactly.
floor.
What?
You know what that means?
That's me in
You either
hitboxes.
end up
Dude, they are
in
my
a
biggest
miserable
enemy in
grind
Crash
where
1.
You check your phone every few minutes, every hour of every day in order to keep on top of your ingredient farming. Or you give them all your monty.
I am
I
fully aware that
stopped
this is a free-to-play game, so in
playing,
many ways it's pointless
like, mobile
complaining about a
games.
gameplay system where you get more out of it by shelling out a few quid. But I do think Cash Banuka Has the Ruds goes way too overboard with how little you can physically progress without spending money. I put
I wonder if they
decent amount
changed
of
it
hours
since
into the
then.
game when it first launched, and
There
I
could have
got
been a new
pretty
one come out
far
afterwards.
After a few hours, But even after all of those combined hours, I still don't even have half the levels completed that I need to get to World 3. You can either
Oh,
use
how many
money
worlds
to
are
buy
there?
ingredients
Unlimited?
immediately, or use them to buy crystals, which
Kinda
are
reminds
the
me of
rarest
Monopoly
commodity
Go
in the entire game,
with
and those
the,
are the things that I
different
use to
board
speed up all
themes.
of those horrific cooldown timers. And yes, there's always the multiplayer angle if you've got the tickets to play in the first place, where you make up your own team and then head to the races with ghost characters in an endless running mode in order to beat their furthest
God, it's
distances. But that's only
been
a
over
tiny
years since I played
portion of the
Monopoly
game,
Go.
and it doesn't really help you along the campaign that much. It is pretty fun to get trophies, which then get collected by all of your team
I
members
really don't
onto
play
a
any
leaderboard so that
any
you can
phone
win
games.
prizes for a
I don't have
season.
time to play video
But
games.
that's hardly worth investing into the tickets to begin with. But hey, just in case any of you were wondering and wanted to join in, I'm the head of the Woolly Wumpers, and the best run
I'm
I
sure
was
it's
able
probably
to do in the
full.
multiplayer lasted me just over 16 minutes, which let me
That's
tell
a
you
long
is
level.
way harder than it sounds, because you end up going this fast after that much time. I have to stress though, this game is
Do you really go that
free,
fast,
so
or-
you aren't harming yourself by downloading it.
It's just
But if
taking
you
your
ask
time,
me,
which
there's 1,000
I
other
do not
free-to-play
have.
games I'd recommend over
Don't have
this
time or
purely
money.
because of how
It's pain.
tectonically slow this one is without dropping any money towards
That's
it.
the
I
whole
have got
idea.
way more mileage from many other free games and still feel satisfied without dropping
that
a cent towards them.
Hearthstone?
Yeah, I've been inconvenienced in a few places, but the core
Golf
game
Clash.
is still great and you can still do a lot. This though, this is more than an inconvenience. Without money, it's boring, and I don't want to play it anymore. A Loki Funko Pop! My advice is to treat Crash on the Run like fast food.
What was that
It's really
about?
lovely in small doses, but if you have too much of it, you'll get gout. And then you need to cut it off for your own health. Now! What about the other Crash iOS games that released on the App Store? Yep, believe it or
And
not,
there's
this
more
is
of them.
not the only one.
Only
In fact,
iOS,
there
though?
were two before it. Crash Nitro Kart 3D from 2009 and Crash Nitro Kart 2 from 2010. But unfortunately, there are absolutely zero ways to play them anymore unless you already have them on an iPhone with those games
Oh, like
pre-installed.
Flappy
They were
Bird.
taken off of Apple stores years ago and can't even be emulated, which is a huge
Wait, they
slap in
can't
the
be
nuts.
emulated?
But at least we've got
What?
this review from Macworld to go off of. Pros, nothing. Cons, nothing. Verdict, nothing. I guess that's why they were taken down. And with that, yeah, I think we're done.
We're not.
Finally,
There's 20 minutes
We
left.
have covered every single Crash
There isn't.
Bandicoot
There's
portable
more.
game ever made. Caddy, when did you get a blimp? Ahaha, yes, it's me, and I'm here to give you items that never helped anybody, just like the blimp.
What do you mean, the blimp?
I
Also,
don't think
isn't
you're
there
right.
only like
Silence, wench, and take my
less
next
than
useless
20
item.
blimps in the world or something like that? It's crazy. I've seen multiple blimps. What is that? Nokia? What is that number
This here is
pad?
the Nokia N-Gage. Yep, I know. It's a video game
Never heard of
console
it.
cross-cell phone that came out in 2003, and it's gloriously shit. It's a taco. It's the end of a spade. It's a weighing
Shovel.
scale for a tiny little man. Do you remember all of those images going around the internet years
No.
and years ago? Yeah, people weren't doing that to be funny. That is exactly how you had to hold this thing when making calls, because the microphone is down here.
I mean, how
and
else
the
would you do
earpiece
it?
is up here. Come on.
It's kind of like a way to
The
flex.
sea. Seriously? I love this thing. I think it's an extremely cool time capsule for the early 2000s.
Look at the
but
radio
I'm not here
button.
to tell you why this thing failed as a phone and a game system. I'm not Derek.
Is
It's
it
me,
indestructible?
Derek from Stop Derek's from Derek. Instead, I'm
Who?
here to tell you that there is indeed an N-Gage exclusive Cash Banuka game
Why?
from June 2004.
2004?
Nitro Kart.
Again?
With online features that don't work anymore.
Oh,
yeah, this
no
thing
servers?
really did try marketing itself as a games console. They had games that
No,
came
it was
in
the
boxes
Sony
with
Xperia.
cartridges,
That's what
no
it was
less.
called,
and in
right?
order for you to swap these cartridges out, you had to take the entire back of the phone off and remove the battery.
Okay, removing the battery's crazy. I guess
I
that's...
don't know why nobody bought this. Mix
That's
that
a
all together
fail-safe
with
to make
phone
sure you
dialing
don't, like,
keys for buttons
corrupt
and
it
an
or
upright
something.
rectangular screen that doesn't show you anything around the left and the right of you, and most of the games that released for this thing were virtually unplayable. Impressive for sure, but terrible.
They...
Hang on a second.
They invested
whoever
a lot
I
of
bought
money
this
into
from
this.
On eBay left their SIM card in it. Well, it would just be rude to not look through all of their contacts. Let's do it. Who should I call? Ashton? Cal?
Cow. Dad. Toby.
Hamby?
Like,
Corinne?
Toby from the
Zaza,
Sidemen?
Kieran? Lowry John?
Probably
Kieran,
John Lowery. Lowry.
G. Matthias. Or lowercase Amy. As you
Wow.
can see, my copy of
Wasn't
Nitro
even
Kart on
capitalized.
the N-Gage is still sealed and brand new off of the shelf from 17 years ago. And since
like a
nobody
Pontiac
bought this
Aztec.
stupid railway tunnel or any of the games for it when they came out, guess how much this set me back?
Free?
£103.50p.
Not
That's
free.
roughly $150 for a game that will most likely look like this.
He didn't even play it though.
And since this is still indeed wrapped up in its original
He's not gonna
packaging
open
and
it?
it's quite valuable, I need to make sure that I'm really careful before deciding to...
Oh, okay. Well, okay.
Now,
Yep.
surprisingly,
Yep.
this isn't actually based on any
How much
other
was the
version of
N-Gage?
Nitro Kart. No, not even the GBA version. It's its own gruesome beast. And yet, somehow...
Oh, it's not bad.
Isn't gruesome? In fact, I'd say it looks even better than the GBA version. Yeah, imagine that.
And,
the 2003 Nokia phone
rectangular.
looks better than a Nintendo console, but shit, man, this doesn't look too bad. And the tracks aren't flat either. There's more bends, hills,
well,
ramps,
yeah.
everything.
You can't really
Consider me
see
impressed.
what's to left and right
And then
when
you
you
remember
have to
playing
turn
with
left and
phone
right.
dialing buttons. And you can only see what's directly in front of you.
Yeah.
And the buttons are massive and really far apart, like the goddamn in television. And the joypad is horribly stiff. And then you realise you spent a lot of money on these things. And you do a big messy.
You know what I want to know, though?
Why didn't you buy a sealed
What do
copy
you
though?
think a hands-free model would look like?
Hey, Mom, I'm on my way. By the way, do you mind if I sat on the cake? I can't see it.
And it's fine.
Are we done?
Nope.
Surely.
Nope. We're not. You're
Surely.
not done.
After looking at the Nokia N-Gage version
Nope, there's
of
more.
Crash Nitro Kart,
Why are there so many Crash
must have
games?
covered every single Crash Bandicoot portable game known to man.
Nope.
Yes?
Nope.
Good?
Nope.
Perfect.
Nope.
So thank you for watching, ladies and
Nope.
gents, and I'll see you all
No.
on the... Give me a break.
What is that?
Yeah, we're still not done. Look, we've also got Crash
Ooh.
Bandicoot games that came out on old smelly brick phones all throughout the 2000s. Do any
Flip
of you
phones.
guys remember Java games on these things? To cut an extremely long story short, Java was the most popular inbuilt mobile phone software for running complicated apps and playing video games on something that looks like a steam-pressed laptop for a business rat. And throughout the 2000s,
I had a sideways
every
flip
single
phone.
thing you can imagine got a Java game available for mobile phones. And all you had to do was buy a magazine, look for the mobile downloads page, and right under the ringtones
when people
and
bought
next door to
ringtones?
the thongs were all the games you could pay for and download straight to your phone. FIFA, Pirates of the Caribbean,
Really?
Worms,
Worms.
Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets.
Harry
Everything
Potter
you
and the
can
Chamber is
imagine
loaded.
ended up
It's
on
not
mobiles,
actually, but-
along with our favorite hip-thrusting orange guinea pig. And let's start off with the game that everyone else got if they didn't have a decent mobile phone. September 2004's Crash Nitro Kart. Not for the Game Boy Advance, not for the Nokia N-Gage, but for early 2000s Java cellular telephones. Fun fact, this was the first ever Crash Bandicoot game released for Java-only mobile devices, so my expectations
And multiple
are not
languages
very
at
high.
least. Doesn't sound awful. I don't hate that. Let's see. They're really trying to get that
And
Mario
I hope
Kart.
you enjoyed that, because that's all the sounds you get.
I think I'll pick Crash
What?
for this game because he definitely looks the most normal. Cortex looks like a moldy banana.
He
Coco
does.
looks like an angry young boy with a bleeding mouth. And Crunch...
He's seen some stuff.
Crunch looks like Winnie the Pooh. 3, 2, 1,
Okay.
and go! Yeah.
Wait, this reminds me of that
So
one
here we
game
are, everybody.
that I was just
Crash
trying to talk
Nitro
about.
Kart on a 2004
There's a
mobile
video game
phone,
like
a
this
racing
that I was
game where
talking
you
about in the
chug
Alan
along
Becker
in dead
video.
silence, trying to get speed boosts from
But you're in like
bits of blood.
you're
Honestly,
in like
to
an
give it
indie
its
car.
dues, I remember playing a lot worse than this on my old mobile when I was a kid. This doesn't look too bad, and it runs surprisingly slick, but like you still had to pay money for this, and all
Oh.
you do is hold the top of your keypad up while turning left and right while pressing the confirm button to use
They made
an
money,
item.
though.
Whoa! It was a noise! But if you want to get really old school, you can always use the number pad to go forward.
No,
turn and use
why?
items.
I guess if
But at
not-
that point,
if your
you'll
phone
end up with
didn't have a
blisters. How
circular-
the hell did they expect you to do that? Oh, cool! An invincible Aku Aku mask power-up.
It was a sound?
The end.
Wow, he barely won.
Were you impressed by that?
No. Also with the
Well,
tiny
if you weren't,
headphone
they
jack.
made another one year later called Crash Racing.
Oh,
So
praise
definitely they made
Gordon
money.
the big engine. I can choose to turn sounds on? Yes, please.
He looks better. I like
changed
that
my
less.
mind. Can I turn them off? This
Yeah.
game, if you can believe it, is a 2005 mobile phone Java version of Tag Team Racing. They couldn't do the tag team though, so
Why
it's
couldn't
just
they?
Crash Racing. Which sounds like how my granddad drives.
Oh,
Look, there's even
no.
Nina Cortex and Pasadena Opossum to play as.
Who?
But I'm definitely picking Cortex this time because Christ almighty, his
Why-
hair could do with a wash. And my
Why-
god, yet again, the game is totally silent. What, pray
but the
tell,
graphics
is the
look a
point
lot
of asking
better.
me if I want sounds if the only sounds were on the goddamn first still image? It doesn't matter either way.
It was to
though,
let
because
people
even
know
though
what
this
you were
looks
playing.
Nice and colourful, it's just a choppier and slower version of Nitro Kart Mobile. And after getting hit by 3 invisible things one after the other, I promptly gave up. Sorry, Cortex.
Okay, well, that's
we'll
bad.
drive you to the hairdressers tomorrow.
In which case, maybe we should take a look back at 2004.
Oh, no.
Seems to be a good solid year for Crash Bandicoot mobile phone games. So let's check out Crash Twinsanity on Java and see if that's any good.
Now this one
not
came out 2
Twinsanity.
months after
People ask me
Nitro
if I'm
Kart
gonna play
Java, so perhaps it's
Twinsanity.
a bit more advanced. I'm excited for this.
For my first playthrough.
Also available on console.
Well-
What a great start. I've just been told that the game I paid for is rubbish, but please trust us, the actual version is better. You can't afford the real one, Crash.
So you're playing on a
Time for us to pick a
flip
file
phone.
then, and...
Huh.
Why is that there?
I don't know. Why
I'm
is
not
that there?
picking that one.
Yeah, don't.
Okay, so this is a platformer that takes those Cortex escort missions from the original Twinsanity and turns them into a side-scroller.
Why is he walking
You
like a
help him,
zombie?
He helps you. I can see where they're going with this, and it doesn't look too bad either. You know, except for the 5 frames per second and the fact that Cortex looks like a walking mound of lard. Oh, and again, there's no sound, but you can jump.
why
you can
did it not
double
have
jump,
sound?
You can spin. What
Was it
more
just
could you ask for?
complicated
oh,
to
cool,
do?
A TNT box.
Wait, jump on a TNT and it...
Whoa,
What?
I see.
Even
see
I
how it
know
is.
that.
What's the point of having the Nitro crates and TNT crates if both of them blow you up immediately? And what kind of death sound is that?
I guess you're supposed to
There's
set
no
off the
sound
plunger.
in this game as it is, but instead of at least trying an explosion, you do that.
Hey, Ollie, catch!
Thanks.
Who's that?
Who is it?
Well, it's okay because at least
I
I can
actually
get my
have one
life
of those
back.
light up
Oh.
Minecraft diamond
I
ore.
can't jump up and break boxes? Hang
As
on, that
it
can't
told
be
you my
right.
door
Let me
opened.
try over here. No, you can't do that. This is not a Crash game. It's a wolf in Bandicoot's clothing. Everything you expect a Crash game to do just doesn't happen. It's like when you grab a wet wipe and you expect it to be wet, but it's all dry and
yeah,
crusty
yeah,
because
it's
it's been
bad.
sticking out the top of the packet and someone folded it back in. Yeah, that's what this game is. A bad wet wipe. Time to stand on the switch to clear the path for Cortex then.
Where's Cortex at? All the way back
This
there?
is great. Oh, there he is! And just in time too, because now he has to clear the way for me.
Really?
The game froze. Wait for Cortex, who will free the way.
We're gonna wait
for you.
forever.
Well, game, I think I'm gonna be waiting a long time for that. This game is poo on a plate. In fact, no, it's not poo on a plate. Poo on a plate is better because at least you've got something to eat.
Okay, so
Oh,
you
what
know
am I
I said
eating?
that Crash Nitro Kart for Java phones was the first mobile phone Crash game they released back in September 2004. Well, yeah, it was the first box standard Java mobile phone Crash game, but it wasn't the first mobile phone Crash game.
Oh, so one that was
one
non-Java?
actually belongs to a game on another phone entirely. Something that was a little bit different from every other phone on the market at the
Blackberry?
Oh man, are you talking about me?
Nokia.
Oh, I could
Oh,
be a phone
Nokia.
if you let me. Go
Nokia.
and vibrate.
What?
Nokia.
Oh, it actually
Honor of
is.
the
Oh,
world's
it's
first Crash mobile game belongs to Crash
built like a
Twinsanity
BlackBerry?
3D, which came out in June 2004, 3 months prior to Nitro Kart Java, but exclusively for phones that were capable of running advanced 3D Java graphics under the Vodafone Live series of phones in the UK. Only 5
Yeah, we
mobile
don't have
phones were
Vodafone here.
compatible in this country, with this one being one of them.
That thing is
Nokia
a brick.
6630. Not only
That thing is
capable of
so
running better
thick.
quality games, but that also came with a softer and more joystick-feeling D-pad for them. And because of all of this new technology, they made a game that sticks out more than Billy from Philly with the great big
Oh, well,
nose. Yep,
yeah.
here it is. Check it out. Oh, it's so good. It's beautiful. My God, I want to put myself all over. I think I found my new booty call, and it has a nice wide pair of hips. Twinsanity 3D actually thinks it can get away with a free
Avoid pits,
3D
really.
platformer. On this. I know you've got more of a joystick feel to your D-pad, guys, but it's still a D-pad for 2004 mobile phone menu navigation. You can't play a game like this on it. What are you, a nincompoop? At least we can say one
they
thing for
can
sure,
try.
though. It definitely has sound. In fact, maybe it has too much sound, because that
How
menu
much?
music...
I don't
It's
hate
one
it.
of the scariest things I've ever heard in
I
my
don't hate
life.
it, it's very
I don't wanna be a
upbeat.
huge donk here. I can at least praise the ambition and
The depth perception.
attempt of a 3D corridor platformer on this kind of technology, and it actually does move along better than
You
I
could
ever
probably run this on a
expected it to.
calculator.
In fact, for it running on a phone that looks like this, the graphics give me a flagpole. It's certainly mighty impressive, but like, none of that matters. You can't play it. Oh, and what about these cutscenes?
Oh,
Cortex! You
Nothing.
shall be destroyed. And that Bandicoot and his friends will be our slaves.
What? I have
Fear
a problem
the
with
wrath
that.
of the twins. Never.
No.
Not even if I have to team up with that blithering Bandicoot to stop. Come on, you bumbling fool.
And Crash is like, okay, we're fine with
Twinsanity
this.
3D is exactly like dating somebody based entirely on their genets. Sure, they may
Their
look
what?
respectable and you may
Oh,
even
their
have
genetics?
a bit of fun. But you know it isn't gonna last.
In which case, let's head back to original Java phones with Crash Nitro Kart 2, released in 2007. And yes, this is a sequel to Crash Nitro Kart 1 Java. It's not a sequel to the PS2 version.
It's a sequel
or
to the
sequel
phone
to the
game.
GBA version, or a sequel to the N-Gage special version, even though that's a mobile phone. And it isn't the same thing as Crash Nitro Kart 2 on iOS from 2010, even though that's also a mobile phone. My head is in pain, please shoot me in it.
Well, I can at the
Scared.
very least say this. If you're running a half-decent Java-installed mobile phone from 2007, and you can ignore Crash dressing up as a rice farmer, then this game is easily the best mobile phone Crash game so far. It looks really good for the technology available. Plus, there's multiple characters and cars to pick from. There's multiple tournaments as well as single races. There's background music that plays all throughout the game, thank the Lord.
Okay,
You've got
they
a load
changed
more
that.
power-ups than the other kart races. Your kart transforms in some of the tracks.
Into a
and since
plane.
acceleration is automatic, all you need to worry about is occasional
Is steering?
braking, turning
Oh,
left and right,
braking.
and then they saved up the number 2 or top of your joypad for the jump, which not only allows
Oh,
you to bounce
okay.
over hazards, but also collect hidden crash letters that once all collected can briefly turn you into an unstoppable monster truck. Why is
That's
this
kinda
game
sick.
slapping as hard as it is? Okay, fine, it's nowhere near as great of a racing game as Sonic Freeloaders, but I need to send
Oh,
a
is it?
very
Oh,
big
well.
well done to the developers. IP for you. Oh, do you now? Oh, and look, they even included my favorite Crash Bandicoot catchphrase.
Use the
They knew what they were
carjacking
doing.
bonus to steal opponents' carts. Hello,
Thanks,
I'm
Crash.
Crash Bandicoot.
Right, so, are we ending on a positive note now?
Maybe?
Have we done every Crash Bandicoot mobile phone
Have
game
we?
yet?
I don't know.
No? There's a mobile phone version
Of what?
of Crash of the Titans?
No! How many different versions of this game are there?
Rabbit hole go.
Is this a joke? No, I mean it. Is this a bit? Are we going through Crash of the Titans?
How many
again
different ones are
On a
there?
Java phone from 2007.
I
This is
imagine
the
these are,
dumbest
like,
thing I've ever
officially
heard since whoever
licensed,
decided
right?
to name this mushroom shit take. And it's even more of a joke that, amazingly
pretty
enough,
sure
the game
shiitake?
looks great for the technology. Look at this. Look at the animations. Look at the fluidity. Look at the overworld with dead body Crash with a mouth like a post box. I'm stunned. Truly, I am. This looks better than the expensive and proper Game Boy Advance version.
Huh?
Does this mean this could be the best version of Crash of the Titans?
I swear if it is.
No, I know it looks pretty good, and don't get me wrong, it really does. But what you
How
need
do you
to keep on
record
remembering
this?
with these things is that you're using a tiny directional pad or phone number dialing buttons. Whichever you end up with, they're
It's gonna be
clunky,
pain.
they're rigid, and if you play any kind of fast-paced action game like this where you need to move all over the place, you'll be rubbing your thumb around these stick
Yeah,
clicky
big-
things so
big
much
hands,
that you'll
just
eventually
no.
start a fire. By the way, I never thought I'd say this, but I can't for the life of me get past this giant boxing elephant. He just loves hitting me into his lovely blue hole here, and
Oh.
even if he doesn't manage to do that, Crash all of a sudden feels like he could go for a swim and does it on his own anyway.
Wait,
I
why is
promise
he on
I
his
did
own?
not move him that way.
Are we done yet?
Wait, he just jumped in on his
Of
own?
course not. Why would we be done? Here's a blackberry.
Oh,
Can you
there-
eat
there it is.
No. What does it taste like?
I don't know, I've never had a Blackberry.
Grease.
Crash Mutant Island, a game that came out exclusively for random BlackBerry mobile phones
Random?
in July 2009. And don't be angry with me, but the only version of this game I could find online was the long and vertical version, which definitely doesn't fit on a screen like
Yeah,
this because
what?
it's supposed to look like this, but Christ almighty, I'm trying here, and there's only so much a mere mortal man can do. Leave me alone. And I'm absolutely
How is it supposed to
shocked
look,
say
then?
that this is easily the best mobile Crash platforming game so far. It's the closest thing to a Crash game at the very least. I do hate how floaty and slow the controls
Oh.
feel, and the pace of
Well,
the
it's on
game
a
is
phone,
ruined
it slows
by
it
how
down,
you
so
just mash the
it helps the
5 key to
controls.
punch enemies for what feels like 3 years, but it looks the best, it plays the best, the levels are multi-layered, there's a lot of exploration for rewards.
So since
there's
when
a
can he
remastered
grab onto
Overworld,
the
it's
edge
on a
of
mobile
boxes
phone
with
that
his
should
hands?
have juices in it, but it doesn't. It's the first mobile Java Crash game that has music and sound effects at the same time, and for some reason it also has While Crash is quietly resting, a panicked Bandicoot arrives. Wait, there's more than one Bandicoot that looks like Crash? This is uncanny. I don't
has a
like
sister.
it. Why does he look like he's from Chicken Run? Wow, man, we're getting so advanced and hashtag modern warfare. We've got QuickTime events now?
What? Oh.
I'm a very sad and lonely man. Crash! A giant flying machine just took your sister Coco! Smells like her fanny!
Oh, well.
And there's another one!
How does this keep
Tell you,
going?
Whoever decided that it was okay to put a million different Crash games on a million different mobile phones that are really hard to
How is there
find,
only
I will
one,
hunt
like,
you down
smartphone
and get
game?
the hooves
Well,
out.
no, there's other
Monkeys
ones that are
and
just
germs,
gone forever.
This is the Panasonic GD67
Oh,
from
it's like a Nokia.
2002. And inside this diddy little electric razor is a special bit of technology known as the Execution Engine, or XN, made by a company called Infusio. This special engine has an exclusive
Tomb Raider.
Crash Bandicoot game on it, known among the community as Crash Bandicoot XN. And let me tell you, getting a hold of this information,
This
the
is
correct
just
phone,
crazy.
the software that's able to emulate it on a computer, and the game itself was unnecessarily difficult.
But I did it anyway.
Why?
As you know me, I'm the Caspanuka, big bad birthday bashy bingo boy.
The lollipop.
And there's no length I won't go to.
Where did the
in
smoke
order to
come
find
from?
A video game that Crash Bandicoot is hiding in. After finding out about the game and the hardware that it was released on, I simply
Dug up the
ignored
phone.
it.
It
But
probably
the
still
digging
works.
I had to do to get inside it was deep and full of sand.
Why does
I
he have
managed to
sand
find
in
an
his
article from
ground?
2002 about the press release of the XN software and compatible mobile phones after a few minutes on Google, which was a great start. But it wasn't enough. I still couldn't find a way to play the game on the phone itself, let alone
What?
play it on a PC.
Did you
So
have to
the
get it
hunt
from
for
a
an
magazine?
emulator for one
Oh.
specific dead mobile phone game engine began. I managed to find the
This
emulator,
exists,
no
why?
problem, but the actual game files to play it on were
Who would
another
upload
story.
this?
Enter
Why?
Howard forums and a nearly 20-year-old article
That's
resurfaces
why.
from a load of pirates that wanted to download Infusio XN games onto their own mobile phones. I followed the breadcrumbs in the forum, one thing led to another, and I eventually ended up on a Chinese ROM website that inexplicably is the only place that has the ROM file for the Crash game.
Why?
Buried in a million different discussion tabs that I can't even read because I don't live on the moon. But what is this? I can't download it without making an account for the
Do you have
site.
to make an account?
Is it safe? Is it legit? Will I
Maybe.
even get the right file? I don't know, but no problem is too big for Crash Bandy Boy to
That-
And after all of that,
He finally
I
got it.
eventually managed to do it.
Was it worth it?
And was it worth it?
Oh my god.
Kind of.
I've never
This
been
here
to
is
pre-watch
the absolute
allegations, ever.
closest to a Crash game that any of these old mobile phone games have ever come close to emulating, and it may just be my favorite for how close it nails this attempt. It's basically a mobile version of a GBA game.
Yeah, I
and you
mean-
have all the controls you'd expect. You can run, jump, spin,
looks like
belly flop,
it moves
even
at the
crawl
right
around
speed.
and crouch jump to reach high areas. Uka is also here, and he has a very offensive sense of humor. Now, unfortunately,
Oh.
there is absolutely no sound anywhere in the game, and even after collecting all the crystals and hidden gems, I was only able to access 4 levels. But maybe these were glitches with the emulator and not the game itself. But regardless, I
That's
still
possible.
enjoyed this game well enough to a point of beating every level 100%. Well
What?
done, Crash Bandicoot
Oh,
XN,
I
for
guess
being
I'm-
the only
yeah.
game so far I could squint at and say, yeah,
That's Crash.
this looks sort of like Crash.
It feels like Crash.
Maybe he looks more like a wrinkled cheesy puff.
Okay, now, no more jokes, no more
that
extensions
the
to
last
the end
one?
of this video. I swear to God, we are done. We have
Really?
done every single Cash Bandicoot
Really?
portable game I could get my hands on. Christ, what a pain. Sure, there is technically one more.
Oh,
on
no.
mobile phone,
There it is.
Crash Bandicoot Intuition, which is a sequel to Crash Boom Bang. No, thank you.
No.
Luckily for me, though,
He's
that was a
running away.
2007 Japanese exclusive on something called the Docomo SH904, which uses motion controls. So there was no
What?
way I was going to emulate it, let alone find an actual copy to play it. Which is a shame because I actually did manage
Why
to
do you
find
have that
myself
phone?
a Japanese Docomo phone, just in case there was a chance I could play it.
How do you find that?
But
eBay?
it doesn't work.
Oh, well,
And this is a rare collector's item.
it doesn't work.
That wasn't cheap.
How much?
and I can't do shit with it.
But it doesn't work.
And so, that's it. We're done.
Oh.
The end. Sorry, everybody. I know that took up a lot of your time, but I hope you enjoyed the ride as much as I did. I mean, I played some games I didn't even think existed. I enjoyed quite a lot of them, and I've got a better appreciation for Crash Bandicoot now. So overall, I think this...
No. What?
Hello?
Don't tell me
There's
this.
a mobile phone version of Crash Boom Bang?
No. No, 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 no. What phone is that? What? What? Why? Okay, that didn't even touch it. Game over? Okay.
Crash Bandicoot is dead. Please subscribe and don't forget to hit that bell.
Follow me on Instagram and Twitter. Because when you're nice, it gets me off.
Special thank you to my executive producers on my Patreon page. In the
Shout out to the
description below.
patrons.
Starman
Shout out to my
Stubbs,
patrons. Shout out to his
Anders Andel,
patrons.
Blake Brown, Captain Demozan, Dave
Look
Marshall,
at Stan.
Dredgen Bungo, Enerjack 5, Eric Branke, Exopaz, Giant Firing Cole, Heartfire, Inflim, Iron Ninja, Mitchell Reed, Ramen Wolf 1485, Raven Tora, Red Eyed Critic, Red Spade
Stan.
83, Skullman, Slowpoke, TARDIS Type 40, The Game Shed, The Patron formerly known
I don't know
as
what the next
Fat
video is
Houdini,
going to
The
be,
Real
but
Kit
the
Nathaniel,
comments will let me
Trade
know. I
Wrestler,
read every
Trigger
comment.
Apples, Whirlwind Abyss, German Boy Remy, Dan and Alex, MR Rushton, Zohaib Ahmed, Bilal Choudhury, Seb McLeod, Lewis McNamara, and
Oh,
Terrell.
dude, that's crazy.
Stan,
Oh, let's see.
do you know how to unlock my partner's bank account?
Doesn't approve. Doesn't get the stand approval. Oh, also, what about as Caddy sleeps? What is that? Is that like a video to watch while you like sleep or something? Is that why Shorter does like cut out a lot of the stuff and it's just kind of like an audio only version? I don't know what Caddy sleeps is. I haven't seen Sleepy Extra. Okay, that's not Caddicarus. I saw Sleepy and I thought it might have been Sleepy Caddy. That's entirely possible. Yeah, no, I'm learning more about Crash Bandicoot. I should be finishing the first game that's coming up Saturday, and then the next Saturday after that we'll be starting Crash Bandicoot 2, and then we'll beat that game and then go on the Crash 3, and then I guess the Crash 4, and then I might 106% it if people are that interested in it, or I'll try to at least. But I'm always live streaming it. I'm posting on the gaming channel on Tuesdays. You want to check that out. People seem to be enjoying it quite a lot, and yeah, it's driving me insane. Some of the moments when his feet land on a platform, but the game's like, nope, you fall off the platform because the hitboxes. It's driving me up a wall. I'm almost done with it, and once we finish the final fight, I think we're gonna go back and try to like do like the DLC levels, which are apparently really, really hard. I think, I don't know, they're like right at the end, so we're gonna try that out. It's gonna be quite the experience. I look forward to reading your comments. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. But until next video, take care and cue the music.
We were playing